Speak. Resonate.
Buckle your seatbelt.
Resonate.
Okay. I've got something I really want to share.
Oh, all right. Do share.
And then I've got a teeny weeny question. Okay.
Teeny weeny question.
Yeah.
Did you hear the energy change? I've got something I want to share, and then I've got a teeny weeny little question. Be bold.
Okay. God, everything's going to spill out at once, and that's okay.
Thank you.
I want to tell you about this journey that I've been on.
All right. Be brief.
And the journey is like, ever since I started coming here, I've been taking note of all the things that you've told us about judgment and mechanics and
All right. Taking
who our
notes.
power is.
Give some of the notes back now.
Okay, and then I've been experimenting with them, right?
Oh, all right.
Okay.
How
so
exciting.
It is extremely
Thank you.
exciting.
Yes.
So what I've done is I've gone down through my feelings, those feelings that I normally shun and push out
Yes.
and scare me.
Yes.
And I've gone down through them and I've accepted them and I've gone down and found the beliefs that
Yes.
they are holding
Yes.
for me
Yes.
as the gifts for me.
Yes.
The gifts of the beliefs that I wish to transform, that I
Yes.
put there by choice.
Yes,
anyway.
that's what your feelings are for. They are signposts that point to the beliefs that are holding you to the realities that you get.
God, they're gorgeous.
Yes.
The beliefs that the feelings guide me to
Very creative.
are sometimes not the most
Not what you
fun
prefer.
thing.
That's all right. Nonetheless, they are very creative.
Right. And some of them are uncomfortable, and some of them are
All right,
scary, and
all
some
right,
of them
all
are like, oh boy, no, that's not me.
All right.
But by accepting those,
Yes, then you can
Yes.
change them.
just by accepting them and allowing them and getting down under them and finding out where,
Yes.
just by accepting them, everything
Yes.
is right inside.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
And why is it that when you accept them, you can change them?
Because they're mine. Because I
Yes.
created them. Because it's my creation.
Yes, because you cannot change what you do not own.
And that's what denial's all about.
Denial,
And that's
yes.
what taking ownership of your creations is all
Oh,
about.
thank you very much.
And when you choose to take your own creations, you bring them right under your control, just like you said.
Really?
Whammo.
Are you sure? Are you positive?
I'm absolutely. I am here.
I don't know about
Every single time.
every, without exception,
Without exception.
not even one.
Not even one teeny weeny exception.
Oh my.
You know what? That is the first thing that I do is when I see something that I'm creating, I go, ooh, God. Then I'll go, okay, I created this by choice.
Yes.
And the moment that I say that I can gather up that courage and say that thing starts to unfold
Yes.
inside me
Yes.
so fast,
Yes.
with such surety that well, it's remarkable. It's absolutely
No
exciting,
kidding.
remarkable. Yeah. And you know what else?
What else?
I found out that, I think you probably said this, but
Maybe.
I found it out for myself,
Yes.
that when I go down into my beliefs,
Yes.
and I get these third density, absolutely genius creations.
Oh, all right.
Absolutely.
Watch your
Leonardo
head.
da Vinci.
Yes.
It's true. Could not have created some of the most fantastic little creations that I've got sitting down there to make
All
sure
right, all right.
that I'm going to experience that belief.
Yes.
And when I get down underneath it,
Yes.
that third density reality,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There is no other reality but the fourth density. It's slap up the other side.
Yes.
The apparency that's underneath it
Yes.
is totally untrue.
I understand what you mean.
Unpreferred.
Unpreferred. They're all
Unpreferred.
true.
Right. All true.
Yes.
Right. But when I get down to it, I know that is not my preference at this
It
time.
is not the foundational existence state of your consciousness.
No. And it was because it's not preferred and because it's an apparency of something that I put there to kind of hide it from you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Then that made it a little bit tricky to find it, so
All
I
right.
couldn't find it right away.
All
I couldn't
right.
change the whole game just like that.
Yes.
But then when I do, the most gorgeous realities open up
Yes.
so naturally.
Yes.
So easily,
Effortlessly. Yes.
and magically, and every
Yes.
one of those, every single one of those boogers, beings, monsters that I am able to bring into myself
Yes.
and accept
Yes.
within myself,
Yes.
changes down at the bottom to the most beautiful waterfall.
You know what?
Beautiful.
Do you know what?
What?
I believe you.
I don't.
Now, what's your question?
The question is, oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
There is this being that I have attracted into my life many lifetimes.
Oh, all right.
And there is a major focus on this being, even though I haven't been together with this being for quite a while.
All right.
And he keeps popping in and out of my
Pop,
life.
pop, 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 pop. All right.
Major focus.
Major
So
focus.
there's this one being, and I said, right, the reason I'm attracted to that being is because that was that being in the other time, right?
Maybe.
And then this other being comes along, and I went, boy, no, I know that affinity anywhere.
No, all right.
That has got to be that being, because I can tell the affinity is the same. Is it possible that both beings
Are extensions of the same soul?
right?
Yes.
Or maybe even more?
Maybe even more. However, the idea isn't really to wonder who they are, but to allow yourself to discover who you are by the reflections you see in them.
Oh, I discovered tons of things.
Well then, the question in that sense does not really need to be asked. You will discover what you need to discover about the relationship when you need to discover it. Enjoy what you are discovering about yourself, about them. Serve them as they serve you. Live in the moment with that. That's all you really need to know.
I am gaining tons by living in the moment. Tons of wonderful.
Will you be able to get out of the chair? Thank you very much for your conviction, your enthusiasm, and your inspiration.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
You are welcome. Our love
the
to you.
guidance and all the help that you've given all of us.
You are welcome. Thank you as well for your sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing!
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Quickly, could you remind us of that little...
Can you hear this individual?
Shout out, it's all right. I remember listening on one of the tapes, a greeting you had that...
One moment. Will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. You don't have to, you know. Say, ah!
Ha.
Ah!
Ah.
Ah!
Ah.
Now talk at that level.
That's not talking, that's screaming.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Allow yourself to do this first. Three times. Straighten your back, and now simply speak with conviction.
Okay, what I wanted to hear was the ancient greeting that you had mentioned that dealt with expectation. It's something to the extent of...
Ah, yes. The idea that we might meet an individual in our society long ago, and we would say, how's everything going? And they would say, not as I expected, and we would say, well, congratulations. Now you know you're on the right path. Because the idea of expectation can, at times, put too much rigidity upon the reality and not allow the surprises to come through that truly bring the gifts of discovery with them. So when we cease to place such heavy expectation, then we congratulated each other. So when things are not going as we expected, we knew we were allowing ourselves to be more spontaneously creative.
So they'll, in a way, never go as we expect?
It does not mean you cannot have expectancy. It does not mean you can recognize what you deserve and what you desire. But the idea sometimes of expectation, especially in your society, is to put so strong a focus, so strong an insistence upon something happening in a certain way that you may be choking the life out of all the other ways that might actually have come to you more easily. So the idea is to relax your demand that they must happen in a certain way or they won't be valid, and allow it to happen in whatever way is truly best representative of what you are putting out as your overall expectancy desire. Understand?
It blends in with the idea of abundance.
Yes, absolutely. You are infinitely abundant right now. You are infinitely connected to all of the universe. Everything you need and everything you truly deserve to complete you, to accelerate you, to expand you, will always automatically fall in front of your face as an opportunity to act upon, to get you where you want to go. Always, automatically, effortlessly. There are so many doorways through which your reality could manifest that you don't necessarily need to place the expectation that it must happen in such and such a way. Because that is focusing on the details. And when you focus on the details overly much, then you take more time to create the reality you want. The more details you add, the more physical, linear space and time you need in which to examine all the various details you are analytically focusing on. So in that sense, that definition of expectation is that which fragments and fractionates yourself into more and more analytical details. Believe me, from our past experience, you can always continue to add as many details to your life as you want to. It will never end. You'll always find another grain of sand to count if you want to. Or you can finally allow yourself to simply dive into the expectancy of the experience of the beach and live it and flow it and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that which grains of sand need to stick to you will, and those that fall away, you don't have to know about. Understand?
So go with the flow.
Go with the flow. But do not lose your reason. It does not mean, in that sense, to quote-unquote surrender, in your terminology, and just become a will-o'-the-wisp. It means that you, with clear sight, clear conviction, and clear desire, move effortlessly in the direction of what you prefer, act effortlessly on the opportunities that present themselves from that direction with full trust, knowing that the thing that excites you the most is the thing that is most representative of who and what you are. Understand?
Yes, and the thing that excites me the most is the electromagnetic field of the Earth.
The electromagnetic field of the Earth. And what do you desire to do with that excitement?
Well, to help develop the technology that you have indicated you will be sharing ideas with us to help.
And what have you done to this point?
Just basically research.
Oh, all right. In what way?
Well, more in healing applications
Oh.
using magnetic energies.
Oh, very good. You are exploring synchronized resonance. Very good. Now, allow yourself to synchronize with the resonance of the Earth itself rather than the idea of a single individual, and you will begin to create, to build within your own body the synchronized resonance that will allow you to experience the levitation and the electromagnetic field that can occur biologically within you. Understand?
I could use a little more clarification.
Little more clarification. I will simply give you a suggestion. This night, beginning this night, for 3 nights in a row, or longer if you wish, but for at least 3 of your nights, when you go to sleep, imagine in your mind's eye your beautiful bright blue Earth cloaked in a bright blue electromagnetic shell of light, spinning in the blackness of space. Concentrate on the spinning, the rotational mass, and allow yourself to fall into sleep with that image. And see what equations and information you get. They may not necessarily come in what you may call a standard format at first, but see what you wake up with, all right?
Okay, before I leave real quick, is there a lot of these eddies that you have indicated would help us get an idea of the secrets of the electromagnetic field we have?
Are you referring to the idea of electromagnetic vortices?
No, the seaweed, petrified seaweed deposit that you talked about a couple of months ago.
One more. There are, again, as we may have mentioned, certain substances that collect in metallic nodules on the ocean floor that also carry within them certain electromagnetic patterns that can render certain clues to the understanding of things that your society is now missing about what the electromagnetic field actually is. It is a far more, shall we say, solid manifestation than many of you think. A far more mechanical one than you may think. Think in terms truly of an electromagnetic fluid, and you will be, shall we say, closer to the point. Study the idea of the motions of fluid, especially what you are now understanding to be superconductive fluids. The motions that you will observe, the patterns, the currents in those superconductive fluids will give you a very strong insight into what is going on in the electromagnetic field of your planet. All right?
So how many of these deposits, relatively, do we have on the Earth?
There are thousands of them. Some of them have been dredged up, as you say, by ocean exploration. But individuals do not necessarily know what they are looking at, and perhaps are experimenting with them in other ways.
There's been some mention of UFO craft actually submarining into the waters near New Zealand. Is this
all over your planet?
Are they checking out these deposits too?
They are, to some degree, checking out many other things, most of which happen to be electromagnetic doorways and gateways to other dimensions, some of which simply exist below the surface of your ocean. Understand that your entire universe is, in that sense, a sieve, seeping and leaking into other universes. Nothing, in that sense, is as solid as it seems. The entire fabric is rent with holes. Sometimes, in your terms, accidentally, you walk through them into other universes. When you create certain harmonic resonances that are key to very high vibrational pitches on the microwave frequencies, you tunnel through those holes into other universes. But that is enough for now.
There's a lot to say.
We thank you, yes, for your sharing.
Thank you.
Sharing! Good day to you.
Real well.
Okay. My question is very simple. I'm very concerned about the children of the earth today.
Very concerned about the children of the earth today. Why? And in what way?
I'm very concerned because I see many children that are very sad.
Very sad. All right.
Okay. I would like to know how I could benefit in healing that area.
Oh, thank you very much. Are you sure you are willing to do this?
Yes.
Are you positive?
Yes.
All right. Can you go to these children that you say are very sad, and can you, through love and example, teach them that they are powerful enough to create the reality they desire without hurting themselves or anyone else?
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Is there a particular way in which you would like to do that?
I was kind of hoping you might tell me.
Kind of hoping. All right. I'll give you a suggestion, and now this suggestion can be implemented by as many individuals on your planet as desire to implement it. There's only a suggestion. Your own imaginations will alter this in whatever way, shape, or form you see fit, and that will be correct. Create your version of what you may call a primer. This primer can contain some of the basic foundational principles you are now familiar with for allowing individuals to understand they are the creators of their reality. It can be, in your terms, non-denominational. Does not in any way, shape, or form have to offend anyone. Keep it basic. Keep it simple. Make it exciting. Make it inspirational. Make it colorful. Allow the children to want to understand the principles. Give them examples to follow. To do, in that sense, a workbook for children. Understand?
Yeah.
Will you do that?
Yeah.
It is up to you. We thank you.
Thank you.
Shouting. Well, thank you for applauding yourself.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Last time we spoke,
Yes.
you asked me what I would like to be in my future life.
What would you like to be in your future life? I asked.
Yes. And I told
Someone perhaps a little bit louder?
I told you a pilot in a spaceship.
Yes.
And you remarked,
That's what I know you from.
yes. Could you elaborate on that?
No. Anything else?
Yes. Last week I was in Sedona and I was traveling down a mountain and I looked up and I saw this big purple light.
Yes.
Was that a figment of my imagination or could that be a spaceship?
Was that a figment of her imagination, or could that be a spaceship, a big purple light? It was, in a sense, a gateway. You were seeing the energy of a vortex itself. One of the doors of which we already spoke. You understand? The end of a tunnel, so to speak. How did you feel? Was there any kind of a tingling in your head?
I thought, gee, what was that? And then oh my God, that wasn't a light. And I didn't respond real quick. I didn't put my brakes on.
All right.
But as I thought about it, as I kept driving,
Yes.
I thought, well, it was something different.
Something different. All right.
And while I was there, I was looking for rocks, and
Looking for rocks while she was there.
and I hurt my leg, and I had about 10 stitches. And I was trying to why that happened, and I was thinking that maybe I was supposed to stay there longer, and that's why it happened.
One moment. Only in a sense, not literally. The idea simply is that you did match frequencies with a different universal vibration, and so to some degree became a little bit clumsy in the one that you used to being in. You understand?
Yes.
You misstepped a little because you were not sure of your vibrations at that moment. It is all right. You will harmonize.
Well, one day you'll be able to elaborate on that, where we met.
One day I will be able to elaborate because one day you will be able to elaborate.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Pleasant dreams to you. I'll see you there. Sherry.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I was interested in your comment on the opening about assuming the most positive intention behind another's communication.
Yes.
And I was trying to reconcile it with the problem I have, whereby I find that people say really positive things and mean to do things, but seem to not be able to follow through. And this recurs in my life all the time.
All right.
So since I'm creating my reality,
Yes.
what am I doing wrong?
No one said you were doing anything wrong. Again, remember, many things are represented by this kind of interaction. First of all, an individual can attract individuals into their life that do not necessarily represent a high degree of integrity, not because it is necessarily representative of the fact that they do not exhibit a high degree of integrity also, but simply because it may be your opportunity to reflect back to them how they can exercise integrity and not necessarily have to think they have to get through life by exercising a lack of integrity. In other words, you could simply function as a reflection for them that they do not have to function that way. Just because they're in your life doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. You understand?
I understand, but
One moment, I'm not done.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Now, what have these kinds of interactions gotten you to look at within yourself?
well, it makes me feel like I'm unworthy.
Unworthy. All right. Why do you have that button?
Because I believe it.
Why?
Well, it's belief.
Unworthy of what? And by the way, when you say, well, it's a belief, that doesn't mean it's a law of the universe. It means you chose it.
Right, I understand.
All right. Unworthy of what?
Consideration and follow through on other people. No, the way I phrase it is having my little fantasies come through.
Having your little fantasies come through.
Right.
Any particular little fantasies you'd care to share? Or would you like to whisper them in the channel's ear?
Sure. No, like I said, I have simple ones. Like I'm going on a picnic tomorrow, and a friend was supposed to bring the picnic, and tonight they told me I was bringing the picnic. So I thought, there goes my little fantasy of being taken on.
Stop. I have something to share with you all already. I have opened the doorway very wide. Now, this in no way, shape, or form excuses other individuals from exercising a lack of integrity, but it is our perception that what you are being told is to take things under your own power. There are many more things that you could be doing that are representative of an exercise of your own power, and you are not doing them. You are giving your power away. You are assuming that it is the responsibility of other individuals to be responsible for your own happiness instead of simply taking it upon yourself to create the happiness you desire.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that help you?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a wonderful picnic with yourself now. You will now understand that if you are willing to take back that responsibility and be responsible for your own happiness in that way and not put it to other people to create happiness for you, you will now attract a lot of other individuals who will be more than willing to share the happiness you already know you deserve to have in your life. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shannon.
Hi, Bashar.
Oh, good day to you.
Jazzed to be here.
Jazzed. All right.
Hard to say. We went ahead and tried to launch the null gravity device,
Yes.
and it was a dud.
Dud? In what way?
It didn't disappear, and it didn't lift off.
Ah, but what dimension did you go into?
I don't know. I was basically there.
Basically, there. All the different things that were going through your mind at that time, what did it allow you to face? What did it allow you to consider? What things did you think? Oh, that Bashar was a so-and-so. He lied. All right, that was out of the way. What else?
Connections being made with other
All right.
civilizations.
I will now allow you to, in a sense, share a little secret. I am not laughing at you, but we were having a little bit of a laugh. Understand, the device we have now discussed with you goes nowhere.
I
It
know
is a
that.
doorway.
I know that.
You go somewhere.
Well, okay, I just got a clue as to what it might be.
Go ahead.
It forms a toroid,
In a sense.
which is like the first geometric solid to express self-awareness.
I understand what you mean. It turns back in upon itself and opens a gateway to another portion of being, yes. Very good. You are now, in that sense, such a toroid. Your consciousness is shaped in that way. The device is not something that is a mechanical device that simply, in your terms, lifts off like a spacecraft. It is an inducer. It is, in a sense, a folder of space, and it folds your energy into another pattern to allow you to consider things you didn't consider before. It is a very, very reflective and different kind of a mirror. It is a switch to activate gateways into other dimensions of self. Because you see, that ultimately is how the spacecrafts work. Remember that our spaceships, quote-unquote, are linked to our mentality, and in a sense are only a convenient representational symbolic form with which we surround ourselves to allow ourselves, quote-unquote, to believe that we can go into different universes. Understand?
Yeah.
You have now been inserted with the first key, and it has been turned. What you will now begin to discover is that is more a matter of vibrational frequency. This device has simply been a key to open a lock within you.
So it's how you factor in your consciousness?
Yes. We now suggest that you simply understand that this device is only a key, and you begin to explore more purely the idea from the vibrational point of view. Learn about harmonic resonance and begin to identify the resonant frequency of different objects and allow them to levitate by matching their frequency in that way.
Much better way, probably.
Much cleaner, much simpler, much easier. The mechanical device is simply a device that folds consciousness. It is a doorway, a gateway. Now it has been opened, and you are constantly folding and refolding yourself and opening in new ways. Match that stream and see what fruit comes forth from the unfolding of the flower that you now are.
Okay, was manifesting that electromagnetic toroidal field some kind of a big event on the Earth?
In a sense, yes. But for now, let's stick to the universe that you are personally, and anyone else personally who was involved. Because you are now, in a sense, your own Earth. And that is something I'm saying to each and every one of you. Understand, right now, literally, as many individuals are partaking of this discussion this night, that's how many Earths there are right now in this room. You're all a different Earth, literally. Whatever you think you are sharing by common experience, you are doing so because you agree to.
One moment. Shh. Remember we just spoke about quietness? Thank you.
I was thinking about following your excitement and how the ego can be helpful or obstructive in allowing you to follow your excitement. So let's say a person wants to try a new endeavor, which might involve quitting their job and following their passion that way, but they have a lot of anxiety about the financial consequences of that.
Yes.
And so how does this happen that the person is able to balance out the energy between their higher mind and their physical mind in order to be able to have everybody do their job appropriately in that scenario.
First and foremost, as we have said, you must honor the belief system that is there to whatever capacity you feel it is necessary to do so. In other words, you give honor to the belief system that the ego has created and recognize that from the ego's perspective, it is valid. From the physical mind's perspective, it is valid. Therefore, you don't abandon it willy-nilly, as you say. You work with it. You, in a sense, make a deal. You say, all right, I'll tell you what, physical mind, ego mind, I'll tell you what. I will continue to work with, say, 90% of that belief system, but give me just 10% to play around with, and I will show you that that 10% can actually work. Make a deal, strike a deal with the ego to give you some latitude to move beyond, even a little bit, incrementally beyond the belief system you believe is necessary in order for you to continue. As you make those deals and keep doing them, bit by bit, you will train the ego to understand that as you ask for more and more latitude, the ego will actually feel itself being more and more supported, and it will allow you more and more and more latitude until such time as one day you will look around and realize that all the old belief systems are already gone, and that you allow yourself complete support with the new belief systems in whatever way actually supports you. The second thing is, while you're doing that and making those kinds of deals with the ego, if that's what it takes, is to embark on an expedition, embark on a campaign of redefining the ideas that you're using. For example, the idea that the only way you can be supported in life, the only way you can be allowed to do the things that you desire to do, is with one particular format or representation of abundance. Remember that our definition of abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Period. Now, if on your planet money is one of those things, all well and good. But the idea is it's simply required that you have the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And if money isn't necessarily the way in which it's best to do that thing, then your reality, your higher mind, will actually bring you the thing that would actually allow you to do that with less effort. Because sometimes if you insist that money's the only way a certain thing can be accomplished, again, that might simply be setting up an obstacle to bang your head against, when in fact your higher mind could actually bring it to you in a more easy way if you would only relax your definitions about what you think you need. So by going on a campaign of changing your definitions of what you think you need in order to be who you prefer to be and have the life you prefer, while simultaneously making deals with your ego to let you stretch a little bit beyond the belief systems, but while still honoring those you really feel you cannot yet change, you can work out a pacing for yourself that will allow everyone the balance they need, everyone to participate, all the aspects of your consciousness to participate as it needs to, and bit by bit you will find that you will change.
So if the ego is frightened in that scenario,
Yes.
will it sometimes try to sabotage the person? Like they'll say,
Yes, of course.
okay, I'm going to try
But
this.
that's why you need to strike a deal. You see, you need to find a negotiation that works. Because the only time that the negative ego will sabotage you if it feels it's not gotten a fair listen, a fair deal, a fair negotiation. If it feels that you are avoiding it, attempting to go around it, circumvent it. You understand?
It sounds like business
It
protocol.
is a business deal. Because the physical ego is all about physical business, the physical world. Therefore, one good way is to use its own language. Deal with it in a negotiation and allow it to understand that you are willing to negotiate fairly. So if you negotiate a fair deal from the ego's point of view and it allows you some latitude in that negotiation, then there is no reason why it would need to sabotage you. The sabotage only comes when you have not negotiated a fair deal.
That sounds incredible, because it's really about understanding the language of the ego.
Yes.
And talking in terms that it really can embrace
Yes.
and accept.
Absolutely. It's all about definitions, understanding them, and working with them.
So just to be clear, which part is making the deal with the ego?
Very good question, because you see, that's where the cleverness comes in. Because the idea is that the one that is actually negotiating with the ego is the higher mind. And so by bringing up the issue of creating a fair negotiation, you have already brought the higher mind to the table. And it starts negotiating with the physical mind in a fair manner, because higher mind is all about balance and fairness. But you're using the physical mind's language in order to get the idea across. So both are present in the negotiation. That's the issue. Both are present at the table. By even offering the idea of a negotiation, you have brought both the physical mind and the higher mind to the table to work out the best deal for the whole person. And that's the underlying issue in the negotiation. You are working out a fair deal for everything involved, for the whole being, for both sides, for both polarities. All right?
Okay, that's great. I'm getting a lot more clear on how you can have this dialogue with all these different aspects of yourself.
Yes.
And become a unified person.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Bashar.
you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. Recently, in my meditations, especially with the use of entheogens, I have
The use of
entheogens.
define.
Well, the scientific name for it, entheogen, en meaning in, theo is God, gen is generate, so it's plants that generate God within, such as like mushrooms and things of those nature.
Understood.
Okay, so I've done mudras.
Yes.
And later finding out my ego, physical mind, doing research, finding out there are ancient Tibetan hand signals that raise frequency.
Yes.
What is it? Is this my higher mind communicating with me? Why is this happening? Is it like a quantum overlap? What's
Well, yes, in a sense, although again, remember that all of these things are simply permission slips. You understand?
Sort of. Can you elaborate?
The notion of permission slips is simply that which you are attracted to use as a symbolic helpmate to put yourself in the proper state of being that represents more of your true self. But the idea is that you attract yourself to use these tools, these rituals, these ideas as a permission slip to align with your belief system, to allow yourself a reason to give yourself permission to be more of yourself. None of these things themselves are actually doing this. You are. But they are designed by nature to function as permission slips to allow you to give yourself permission to unlock those states of beings within you. And the ultimate realization that comes from the use of permission slips is that you no longer need them to create the state.
Are you referring to the entheogen or the
All
mudras?
of it. Any of it. Any tool, any technique, any physical symbol that allows you to feel that you can achieve a certain state of being, a certain vibratory level, is nothing but a permission slip that ultimately will show you that you no longer need the permission slip to create that state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess I'm a little bit more questioning, like, when this is happening. Also, I guess you could say like Reiki type healing occurs as well.
Yes. But again, all healing is done by simply creating a vibration that suggests to the person to be healed what frequency they need to match within themselves in order to create the experience of healing for themselves.
I understand that. And also, just real quick, the ego itself, and an out-of-body experience type
situation. Just the fundamental ego, you mean? Just the focusing mechanism.
Yes.
Yes.
The inner dialogue, I
yes.
guess. And an inner out-of-body experience type situation.
Yes.
Where you feel totally dissolved and one with everything.
Well, not exactly, but go ahead.
Not exactly.
Well, in other words, if you actually had the so-called experience, I put that in your quotes, of actually being the one, you would not actually have an experience. You would just be the one. The one does not experience itself. The only way that the one could experience itself was by creating itself as the all. So when you have the experience you just talked about, the actual experience you're having is a connection to the all within the one, but it is not actually a connection as the one itself. It is only a connection to the one as the all.
Is that like the 99% kind of method you gave yesterday, like right before the one?
It is similar to that idea, yes. Because to actually go into the one, to actually be the one, there is nothing else. And an experience cannot be had when there is nothing to compare yourself to. So the one has no experience. It has experience as the all that it is, but not as the one. So, this is just a clarification of terminology.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So, in your out-of-body experiences, when you can perceive a connection to the all, that the one is, yes?
Yes.
And then, you were going to say, beyond that?
Oh, I was just going to say beyond that, just when you experience that, like, it's more of a processing thing coming back into the ego mind. Like I was going to ask with that question, is there really a dissolution of the ego, or is it still there?
You still have a sense of your own identity, but it is not actually experienced in the same methodology or by the same mechanism as the physiological mind's ego structure.
Is that similar to dreams then?
It is more similar to that, but it is actually even beyond that. Because the dream itself also has to be a physical mind construct in order for the physical mind to understand the symbologies of the experience. The dream may not be literally representative of the experience you had, but it may be the closest approximation the physical mind can make to symbolize and represent that an experience was had. Therefore, the dream structure is actually a creation of the physical mind personality.
Okay, so that's not the higher mind then sending, like, for example, for inspiration, imagination that comes from the higher mind.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It can be that the origination of the information comes from the higher mind. What we are saying is that in order for the physical mind to understand it, it has to cloak it in symbology that makes sense to the physical mind.
Okay.
Therefore, what it's actually perceiving are an arrangement of its own symbols of what the higher mind is saying. It's like translating from one language to another.
Excellent.
Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much for tricking me into talking to my higher mind.
You are very welcome.
Because that's what I've been wanting.
Yes.
So I do spend time every day being quiet in meditation,
all right,
trying to get my ego mind to shut up.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that only works so well.
Well, this is where the negotiation comes in.
Okay, so speak a little bit more about that.
Well,
so,
again, the idea is to know that when you propose a negotiation, that you are proposing something that is fair for everyone, including the ego structure, including the physical mind, including the higher mind, that something can be worked out that will work for all. Now, we understand that there may be a belief system within the physical personality structure that may not trust that, and you may have to work with that a little bit. But that is why we say if in the negotiation you promise to honor the belief systems that are already there that come from the physical mind's fear-based belief, then by honoring it as much as is necessary, then you can prove over time that it is no longer necessary to hold those things to be as true. So you does have to start, in a sense, with giving the physical personality, in a sense, let's say, you have to give it the first win in the negotiation. You follow me?
Okay.
By honoring the belief systems it has created, by validating them and recognizing that from the physical mind's point of view, they are valid. It's only trying to protect you after all. It's protecting itself, but it's protecting you.
Yeah.
Because it thinks itself is you.
Yes.
So the idea is that what it's doing, no matter how detrimental it may seem, no matter from what negative place it may seem to come, it's doing it out of love. Making the statement in your negotiation, your opening statement in your negotiation that you recognize that it's doing what it's doing out of love is the way to begin the negotiation. And then what you're returning with is the idea that what you are also proposing is out of love, because you want the ego to survive and you want it to experience joy in doing its job effortlessly. And therefore, what you're going to propose is a sensibly and reasonably paced unfolding of a change in a negotiation that honors its side, its view, while at the same time also allowing you to prove to it that the changes you are proposing will serve it as well. So it's a win-win situation. But you must start any such negotiation by letting it, in a sense, win its first point, because the ego is all about winning.
Yes.
When you can teach the ego then that you're interested in a win-win, it will start to relent and grant you some leeway. Then you can work with whatever it is it gives you, and even if you are given a seed, you can expand that and keep expanding that in your future negotiations as you prove, bit by bit, that the old beliefs are no longer necessary for the ego to continue to win. At a certain point, you will cross a threshold in those negotiations where the ego will actually be eager to grant you more and more and more leeway, because it will actually start to feel the burden lighten up on itself. It will actually start to feel more like its true self. It will actually start to stretch out and say, you know, this isn't half bad. Well, in fact, then maybe it is just half bad. But it is working its way to being all good. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Does that help?
Yes, it helps, and I think it may answer the second part, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Oh, all right.
So then when I get the ego to be quiet for a while, then I spend the second part asking questions of my higher mind and then waiting for an answer and writing it down.
You can. Again, remember, it is important during this point to actually use this quiet time to begin a dialogue with your higher mind in whatever way will allow the ego to feel that you're not tricking it.
Give me an example. Do it.
Well,
do the dialogue.
You have to express the idea that you're going to... Are you familiar with the idea? Again, this comes back to the idea of what you call business language. Are you familiar with the idea of full disclosure?
Yes.
Well, that's what you're doing with the ego.
Okay.
You're saying, all right, the first win goes to you. And now, if you will allow me, I'm going to talk a little bit with the higher mind. Is that all right? Of course, the ego will think that you are something else talking to the higher mind, when in fact the higher mind is actually saying that.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
All right, because
yes.
at first the ego won't recognize you as the higher mind. But when you get the ego to be quiet, you actually start talking to it as the higher mind. But for a while you may have to pretend that you're not. You may have to pretend to seem to be a neutral party. Maybe you can even pretend you're the negotiator in between the physical mind and the higher mind. The point here is to use your imagination to make that negotiation work in whatever way it seems to work best. But what is important is full disclosure, so the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked. And when the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked, the ego will have no reason to trick and sabotage you. So full disclosure is important. All the lessons of what you call win-win business negotiation are applicable to negotiating with the ego structure.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar, I am absolutely excited and delighted to be here with you.
Oh, all right.
Thank you so
and
much.
Good day.
Good day to you. Good day. I have been asking my ego to allow me to exponentially move forward away from what I recognize as limiting belief systems.
And how has it responded?
Well, it's you know, it's going pretty well. I have
All
big
right.
dreams, but they feel surrounded by limitations. What happens is I get very close
Yes.
to the people and experiences that could, you know, that might be the ushering me in towards
Yes.
them.
Yes.
And then something recoils and I end
Yes.
up sort of in a cross between dire circumstances and
Yes.
debt and this possibility of amazing
Yes.
things.
That's
So,
because you have set up the negotiation to allow the ego to toy with you.
yeah. It's a mean ego that I've got.
All right.
I'm working
well,
on it.
Again, the idea is to go back to the 0 point. Renegotiate the deal.
Okay.
Don't be so insistent on having a particular kind of expansion. Even the idea of an exponentially expansive, joyful life may not even be involved in the first negotiation. You may not want to enter that arena in the first negotiation. You may just want to start with just a little bit.
But if survival issues are up, that does begin to play into it.
But what we are saying is that if you propose a less aggressive agenda to the ego, it will not feel threatened and survival issues won't arise.
Right.
You see, you may have proposed too much for the ego to handle. You may have said, I want it all or nothing. I want to explode, expand at an exponential rate. And the ego's going, okay. We'll see how far you get. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Oh, there she goes. Oh, yes, expanding, expanding, expanding. Yank. Yank you right back because you didn't deal with the actual underlying reasons why the ego would feel the need to do that.
So essentially it's still an issue of not being gentle enough with the ego to let it feel it's included in the bargain.
Not being gentle enough and then therefore not being, shall we say, precise enough in your investigation of what the underlying beliefs and definitions were that are creating the ego to be in the state that it's in. Not understanding the ego clearly enough and why it is holding the position in the negotiation that it is. When you understand the ego's motivations, then you can deal with them in the negotiation. You cannot just bargain and run and not understand where the other side is coming from. Otherwise, they'll pull the plug.
I hear you, but I'm trying as hard as I can. So
no, don't
perhaps...
try so hard.
Okay.
Why are you trying so hard? Are you in a hurry to get where you want to go? What kind of energy do you think that puts into a negotiation? Oh, well, you don't really want to be here talking to me. You want to be off having fun in some other place and leave me behind. I don't believe you're sincere in this negotiation, the ego says. You're in too much of a hurry to get where you think you need to go. You're not cherishing my value. You're not staying in the moment, in the present, as if this was the most important thing in your life. I feel unloved and abandoned.
Aww.
And I'm going to get you back for that. You're
job.
being mean to me, so I'm going to be just as mean to you.
Right.
Are you getting the point now?
Yes, I do. I get it so completely. It's just that
it's
how
just that what?
to.
I just told you.
Okay.
You need to relax and not be so eager to get where you think you need to go. You need to be nowhere more important than right here, right now. Whatever is happening and whatever process is important to go through in forming this dialogue and this negotiation with your ego is the most important thing in your life, and nothing and nowhere is more important to be. Forget about being anywhere else. This is the most exciting thing.
And if I end up on the street corner without a home?
Oh, good way to set yourself up.
Well, it's heading there.
Who is saying that?
Some bastard, man. I'm going to go wrestle with him.
The negative ego is saying that to try and scare you because you've scared it. Don't you understand? That's how it works. If you scare the negative ego, it will scare you back by making you believe. Remember what we said about negative ego reinforcing negative beliefs?
Yes.
So when you scare the negative ego by making it think you're going to abandon it, it will scare you into seeing a future that is one to avoid, so you won't go away. It's covering the reality you could have with a smokescreen, an illusion of a reality you don't want, so you won't move in that direction because it doesn't want you to go. Because you've let it think you're abandoning it. Because you're not treating it with enough respect.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Sirs. Thank you, my dear.
And you as well, my darling.